Well, it's a cool Saturday morning here in Colorado. I'm in my Seattle Mariner sweatshirt to support Jamie Moyer pitching tonight for the Philadelphia Phillies. And we're going to answer a few email questions. First one up today is from Ruman. And Ruman says he just bought himself a new G5. Congratulations. And he's wondering, will a two-button mouse work on Mac? And yes, it will. The two-button mouse lets you bring up the context menu like in Windows. And if you go into your control panel or into the preferences section of your Mac, you can set the right click to do a lot of different things on the Mac desktop. So good luck with your G5. I know you're going to like it. Craig's writing in and has Wi-Fi on his laptop that he uses when he's cruising in the Bahamas. And he can get Wi-Fi access when he's actually in a marina, but he would like to dock 500 to 1,000 feet away from the marina and still get wireless. It's not going to happen, unfortunately, Craig. Wireless, even in open areas, will only go 400 feet, maybe a little bit more at the very most, and then the signal is pretty iffy and weak. The only way you can get wireless access from that far out is to use some kind of a cellular wireless system. But other than that, you are out of luck. Carl has a question we get frequently about the Castellini on Computers newsletter, and he's not getting it. He says he's signed up several times, but he still doesn't get it. More than likely, you have a spam filter that's catching it. My newsletter, for some reason or another, gets caught by a lot of spam filters. Check with your email provider. If you have another spam filter on your computer, configure it to allow my email newsletter to come through, and you will get it. Because if you've signed up on the site, you are on the list. It is being sent to you. It's just getting caught somewhere between me and you. Sorry about that. I do post it on the website at helpmerick.com every single week. So go to the website and you'll be able to see it every week there as well. Debbie has a question about getting rid of antivirus 2009 malware. It's very difficult. A couple things you can try are go to my website and search for spyware, and you're going to see a tip called extricating spyware. And if you follow those steps and use the tools that I have linked up in that tip, you'll have a good chance of getting rid of it. Depending on how long you've had it, how deeply it's gotten into your system, there are times when it's just easier and more time efficient to back up your data and then completely reformat and start over. It doesn't sound fun, and it isn't fun. It does take a little bit of time, but oftentimes you're going to find it's less time and effort than trying to get rid of every little piece of that spyware that gets onto your system. Here's another email newsletter question from Ann. Ann says that she has a new email address and she's signed up on her old email address, and she'd like to unsubscribe from her old email address. If you go to the bottom of any of my newsletters, there's a little unsubscribe link at the bottom. Click that link, put in your old email address, and then you can unsubscribe that old email address. Thanks for subscribing, Ann. Laureen's writing in about a virtual memory problem where she gets an error that says that virtual memory is running low, but she knows she has plenty of RAM on her computer. Virtual memory in Windows is a way for Windows to share memory functions with the hard drive. So in other words, if the RAM starts filling up because some program has just taken up too much of the RAM capabilities and then is not able to give it back to the system, or for some reason just got stuck giving it back, then the computer has to go in and use the hard drive as temporary memory as well, and that makes your computer slow down and cause problems. The number one thing to do is shut your computer off and restart it. If you're getting this kind of an error often, start to try to keep a little log, either mentally or on a piece of paper, of when it happens, what programs you're using or what programs you just closed before it happened. And if you start to make that kind of a log, you'll be able to sleuth out potentially what program is actually causing the memory leak, and is what a term can be used to describe this, and go out and update that particular program or uninstall and reinstall that program. Could be a lot of different things causing that, but generally if you keep that log, you're going to find a pattern to when it's happening and why it's happening, and then take steps to avoid it and prevent it. Ruman, our Mac G5 guy who wrote to us earlier this week, sent us a news article about Microsoft licensing some Linux code. It's kind of interesting because that means that, I guess in my eyes, I'll have to read the article a little bit more in depth, Ruman, but it looks to me as if Microsoft is finally saying, you know what, there might be something to the fact that the Mac OS is so strong because it's based on Unix, and that Linux in general and all of its little derivatives, Ubuntu and Mandriva and SUSE Linux and all that kind of stuff is getting more and more popular. So thanks for the article. I'll take a look at it, Ruman. And finally, our last mail for this week, Harold writes in and asks, how can he export his Outlook Express address book into Gmail and include street addresses? And you are in luck, Harold, because just the other day I ran into the same problem, and I had not researched it out thoroughly enough in the past, so I did this week, and I found a way to do it, and there it is. Import your Outlook contacts with Gmail, including street addresses, and the little trick is after you export it in the comma-separated value format, and I have all these steps written out for you, you want to switch to the older version of Gmail prior to importing your exported contacts, and that should get everything in the contacts, including your street addresses. So thanks again this week. Great short questions. The short and sweet questions are wonderful to listen to and answer. I think it makes more sense for listeners as well. So keep bringing them in, all those questions at helpmerick.com, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks.